What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on Buy Sell Cars TV. Today we're going to be talking about this Fiat 500 behind me. Got this in stock not too long ago, so I thought I'd make a little video on this car. I'm also going to talk to you about the margins on this car, so I'll let you know what I paid for it and what I'm hoping to sell it for as well, because you know that is a question I guess a lot of you guys want to know, the potential profit to be made in these cars. And finally, we're going to talk about, are these good cars to start buying and selling? Because you know there might be a couple of common problems that we can touch on, things to look out for when you are buying and selling these, but we're going to touch on that later in the video when we go for a drive. But for now, I'm going to show you the condition of the car, show you the spec, give you a little walk around, and then we're going to hop in, go for a drive and carry on with the video. So I'll see you in a second, guys. Right, so I'm going to give you a quick walk around of the car and show you the condition that the car is currently in. Overall, for a car which is a 58 reg, you can really see it is in fantastic condition. You know, there are the odd few little marks here and there, but as you see it here, it looks absolutely fantastic. I know I probably say this about a lot of the cars I get in stock, but I am quite picky when I get cars ready for sale. Moving over to the driver's side, all looking very, very good. You know, there are a couple of little marks. Probably the worst thing is over here. We've got a little bit of a scuff on the rear quarter, but it's not really too noticeable. We can just ignore that. That's happened today. Now, as I walk back, you can see the current condition of the car is very, very good. You know, you have got a little bit of surface rust on the corner of the arch over there, but quite common on Fiat 500s to get surface rust on various parts of the car. It's not end of the world. You know, like I say, it is just a bit of surface rust. It hasn't gone onto the outer body yet, so not end of the world. Going around the front again, quite common. You'll see a couple of little stone chips or scuffs on the bottom over there. But other than that, I think overall for a car of this age, thumbs up for this one. It's in fantastic condition. Let's go check the interior. Moving to the interior, as you can see, the red is absolutely popping. I did have this valeted, so that is why it is, you know, really showing up the color. Initially when I got the car, the condition was pretty good anyway, but I still got it valeted because when you have red interior and you get it cleaned, it really just brings the color up and it really pops. So overall, you know, you can see the color of the steering wheel. For a cream steering wheel, it's not too bad. You know, there are a little bit of marks on it as expected, but it's a one lady owner car. You know, as you'd expect, everything looks very, very clean. All of the buttons, switches, carpet as well. It's all in good condition. There's no rips or anything to that. Let's check the back out as well. Same situation. Back seats look brand new. Carpet as well. Yeah, it's fantastic. Really has been well looked after, this car. But things you would expect being a one lady owner car. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea of the exterior and the interior and the condition of the car being ready for sale. What we're going to do now is we're going to go for a drive. We're going to talk about why I bought this car, the potential profit margins in this, and things you should look out for when you are buying one of these cars and if they're a good seller. So let's go for a drive and carry on with the video. Right, let's get straight into the video then, guys. Why did I buy a Fiat 500? You know, what do I like about them? The reason I bought this Fiat 500 was predominantly because it was a one lady owner car. Now that was the biggest selling point for me. Another reason I like to buy these cars is, you know, I've had quite a few of them in stock. I tend to have a Fiat 500 in stock most of the time. The reason that is because they're quite popular cars. They're not too expensive. Great for a first time buyer. And at the moment, you know, with obviously a backlog from COVID of people learning to drive and taking their tests, the influx of people buying their first car and passing their test is very, very high. So cars which are going to be there to match the demand of those types of buyers are cars to go for. You know, there's things other than Fiat 500s you can go for as well, but for me, this is one of the reasons why I just like to have one of these cars in stock at all times. You know, they're great cars, and for such a small little city car, they actually drive all right. You know, they're not the comfiest of cars on long journeys, but when you're just plodding around town, you can't really get better than something like this. You know, parking is really easy. All of these points which I'm talking about are selling points and why they're so popular. And yeah, I touched on that. It's a one lady owner car. It's got full service history. I think it's got about 13, 14 stamps in the book as well. So all of these points were just fantastic selling points when it comes to buying the car. And you know what? Buying a one owner car these days, it gives you less risk when you are buying things blind, because it's just less chances that, you know, the car's been through more owners where more things could have gone wrong. Of course, you know, people do say, you know, it doesn't matter, high owners, low owners, but end of the day, you know, you can still get a bad car if it's a one owner, or you can get a good car if it's a five owner. What it is when you're buying blind, though, from my perspective, is it's less likely to have issues in the sense of it's been looked after by the person who's paid for the car new for the full asking price. You know, you would hope they would look after the car. Vice versa to someone who's bought it now at the cheaper price, it might not be as valuable to them. So that's just the reason why one owner cars to me are so attractive and why I like to buy them. And then coupled with the fact it's got the full main dealer service history, it's in a great colour, white exterior, red interior, it was a no-brainer for me to buy this car. So the big question, how much did I pay for this car and what sort of margins are there going to be for me to make? So I paid 1,700-ish all in for this car. Now the cap price of this was around £2,000, so you know I'd done well by getting it for less than the cap clean price. Especially being a one owner, you know, you would have definitely thought that this car would have gone for over 2,000. But there are a couple of factors. You know, the first one being sometimes it's just a bit of luck. At that time, whoever else may have been bidding may have just forgot about the car. Or the other option is, you know, car prices are slightly coming down. People necessarily aren't spending as much on stock because they overpaid for things a couple of months ago, which they still might have. So there's a number of little factors which influence this, but in this instance, I do think I got, you know, a bit of luck on my side when I bought this car. Being a one-owner car, and not really a lot of things that go wrong with them, to be honest. You would think it would fetch strong money in auctions. So yeah, I've done well in terms of the price. So all in about £1,700. Now, in terms of getting things done to this car, in terms of repairs, MOT, servicing, I didn't need to. So this car just had a recent MOT done to the car, as well as a recent service as well. So, you know, I've saved money on that front as well. This is something I knew when I was bidding on the car anyway. But of course, you know, when a car's got an MOT less than 6 months, I always like to get a new MOT done. It's a good chance to get the car inspected as well, just to make sure it's fully roadworthy and safe. You know, if I get a car and that's got less than 6 months MOT, I'll always get the car MOT'd at that point because, you know, you'd want to make sure the car is safe and roadworthy. But if you have bought a car and it's just been MOT'd, you know, like in the last month or so, you know when you are buying the car that the car should be okay. So on that front, you know, there wasn't anything I needed to do. All I had to do to get this car ready for sale was get the car valeted. Well, the valet only cost me £40. So in reality, this car has cost me around £1,750 all in. So I think the cost price was around just over £1,700. So that's £1,750 all in. Now the cost of advertising, I obviously have it on a package, so it's a bit different. But you know, if we just go with, if you were a pay-as-you-go customer and you're advertising this car for a month, you're probably looking at around £35 to get this car advertised. You know, just for the sake of it, we'll just go with 50 quid. So we're all in, car ready for sale, £1,800. Now I've advertised this car at 3,295. It is very slightly above the market average, but the market average doesn't take into account the ownership, the service history, because a lot of the cars you see for sale might be great price, lower price. The reason it is because there'll be no service history, bad MOT history. A lot of these factors will influence the price. So in this instance, when you've got a very, very good car, very good condition, fantastic paperwork, great ownership, you can command a slight premium. I could have probably priced the car slightly higher, but I like to price my cars well. So profit margin wise, you know, if the car's advertised at 3,295 and it owes me around £1,800, you know, we're looking at a sort of provisional profit of £1,500. From this £1,500, you've got to take into consideration, you know, you have overheads to pay for, tax, etc. As a provisional margin of £1,500 for the money that was invested in, that is fantastic. You know, to put £1,800 into something and get £1,500 out of that, you've done very, very well as a percentage. And now, especially at this price point as well now, where cars do sell a bit quicker at this price point, you get a lot of cash buyers. You know, it's not too difficult necessarily for people to save up for a little while and buy something like these cars cash. You know, people who are buying these cars as well, they know they're not going to lose a crazy amount of money, so these cars do sell quite quickly. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a good idea of the sort of margins that I'm going to make on this car. And you know, you got to bear in mind, some of you might say 1,500 provisional is good, some might say it's bad. If you think it's bad, you're probably a bit crazy. But when you're buying a car which is ready for sale and has a lot going for it, you tend to find that your margins really will shrink because a lot of people go for the car and they know it's an easy sale. To make a provisional 1,500 on a car which you don't really need to do much to is really good, very, very good. Finally, we're going to talk about, you know, things to look out for when you're buying one of these cars. There's a couple of things which I've had in the past when I've had Fiat 500s. So the first thing, which is a bit of a common issue, it's a headache as well. So you're looking at these Fiat 500s and you ever come across the ones that have the digital climate control, it's quite rare, but you know, a couple of them do come with them. Don't even bother. Don't buy that car blind, I'm telling you. I'll pop up a photo on the screen now so you can see the headache that happens with these cars when that is the case. But basically, if you have digital climate control and it breaks, there is a little plastic flap which controls sort of the temperature of the fan behind. Now this plastic flap is such a small thing, but to replace, the whole dash has to come out of the car. Now when I mean the whole dash, the steering wheel, the center console, the doors have to come off, all for such a small plastic part. It's a nightmare. It's not worth it. Don't even take the chance and risk it. Like I said, I've popped up the photo on the screen. I'll pop it up again so it just reminds you of the amount of work that goes in getting that replaced. And from what I remember, I think that cost me around £400. That was me getting a very, very good labour rate for that job. So avoid that, guys. Coil packs is another issue. Coil packs, spark plug and leads. Not really a major issue, but it's quite common. I picked up a few of these and they tend to be misfiring, and it turns out to normally be one of those three things. So it's not anything crazy, nothing too major. Coil packs about 70 quid for these cars. Spark plug leads, not expensive at all. That is something to look out for. So if you have got a misfire, don't be too alarmed. It's probably, chances are it's going to be one of those three things because it's a pretty basic engine on these cars. Another thing as well is, guys, these cars are cam belt driven, so I think it's every sort of 4 or 5 years and 40,000 miles that it's due on these cars. So, you know, bear that in mind when you are looking to buy. You go through the paperwork if you can just to see when it was last done. It's not a lot of money to get it done on these cars as well. I think you're looking at around $250 to get a cam belt and water pump done. You're going to get the water pump done at the same time anyway because it just makes sense. So yeah, it's about $250. I think I've had it done for about $220 from my mechanic. But again, it's really important to get these things done on time. You know, you don't want to take the chance and risk of, you know, ruining your engine over £200. So that is another thing you need to look out for when you are buying these cars. One other thing as well, again, it's not a big issue, but again, it's a very common problem, is the door handles tend to break. So I've had it twice now. You just go to pull the door handle and it just falls off. It's a common issue on these cars, but you can pick up the sort of replacement kit for them for like 10 quid on Amazon. It's not a big job to do. It takes the mechanic sort of 5-10 minutes. Very, very quick and simple fix, but it is a common issue. So if you do see a Fiat 500 for sale with a broken door handle, again, don't be alarmed. It's an easy fix, but it's just something for you to be made aware of and to look out for. So those are like 4 different things which you want to look out for when you're buying these cars. You know, there are so many things on every car that you can look out for, but these are just things that I've come across when dealing with Fiat 500s. So to conclude the video, are these good sellers? I think they are very good sellers. You know, there are a lot of them on the market, but there are a lot of them on the road as well. So overall, I definitely recommend these are great cars to sell. Very easy to maintain, not a lot that really goes wrong with them. Very popular and potentially good margins in them if you buy them at the right price. Overall, I'd definitely recommend buying a Fiat 500 if you're looking to buy and sell. So on that positive note, guys, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and hopefully it's given you a good little insight as always. Today, you know, touching on profit margins as well. I know that is something a lot of you guys like to know and see. So, you know, yeah, hopefully I've given you a better insight today by talking about those margins. Add me up on Instagram as well, guys. Buy Sell Cars TV. You know, I have a bit more day-to-day things on my stories over there if you'd like to see. So add me up. I'll put a little thing on the screen now for the Instagram. But yeah, guys, on that note, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, guys.